Thank you. The House is resumed. Kia ora tātou, no reira, te whare, inga iwi, inga rio, inga hawe wha, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, honourable members. Prior to the dinner break at 6 p.m, the Honourable David Cunliffe was speaking, and the member has 7 minutes 30 seconds remaining to speak if he so wishes to.
Ka pai ngā rangatira. Good evening to the House.
I call the Honourable David Cunliffe.
When we were breaking for the dinner break, Mr. Speaker, we were asking ourselves the question, why is this bill being debated under urgency? Because the changes that it incorporates don't come into effect, apparently, until 2012. Hardly urgent. What's more, the government has made the argument that's an entirely good thing because it shows that they are keeping faith with the electorate who still has the chance to throw them out on their ear. However, as a matter of fiscal prudence, that argument does not square well with the fact that the proceeds of these cuts are already incorporated into the budget baseline as of now. They are in budget 2011, not in budget 2012. And what that means is next year, if the members opposite find themselves rather fewer in number and sitting on this side of the House, the government of the day will have to either unpick these changes or find other means of filling in the baseline hole. In other words, Mr. Speaker, the constitutionality of going to the electorate for a change that was already booked in the budget 6 months before is dubious. It is a sham. It is spin. It is the victory of the political spin doctors in the beehive over the substance of good government. And how would members opposite know? I mean, some of us here remember what it's like being on the backbencher on the government side. No one tells you anything. They know less about what's coming in the budget than we do. They get dragged in at lunchtime by the ministers and told, this is when you've got to clap. And they all go, art, 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 like seals. And that's how it works. And they're still doing it. But why are they doing it? Why are they doing it, Mr. Speaker? Because this budget is on a scale of 1 to 10, I've been debating with myself and colleagues, either 0 or 1, depending on where you start. But I'm going to stick with Bill English's definition. He called it a 0 budget, and I think he was right. It really is a 0. Phil Goff called it sub-0. He might have been a bit harsh. That is our job. But I think 0 is a fair balance point. 0 out of 10. Why is that, Mr. Speaker? Because it had to do 3 big things. It had to credibly reduce the deficit, and I will go into why that has not occurred. It had to make structural change to the economy to lift our growth rate, lower debt, increase savings, and improve the balance between the export sector and the domestic non-tradable sector. It has done none of those things. There is not even the pretense, not even the sham, not even the shadow of an economic development plan anywhere in this budget. I thumbed through it in the lockup. I thought I had missed a chapter. I thought maybe there was another volume. But no, there wasn't. There is no plan in this budget for growth. Which, sir, might be why the IRD does not believe the Treasury's growth projections and has run out on page 81 and 82. On page 81 and 82 of the government document, a revenue track which is $3.8 billion lower than the Treasury's revenue track over 4 years. Even the IRD does not believe the rosy glow growth forecasts that are in this budget. It's about as solid as a tissue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to turn to the third issue that a good budget would have needed to satisfy, which is that it would need to be fair to all New Zealanders. Now, Labor on this side of the House, we actually agree with the government the deficit's too big, the debt mountain's too big, people need to draw in their belts, savings need to be found. That's all true. That is all true. But the fact remains there are choices. And if there are going to be savings, then they better be fair. They've got to be fairly spread around the community so that those who can afford them the most pay a little more. Those who afford them the least, they're given a little bit of a hand up. And the thing is spread around. And we as Kiwis, we do what we do well. We look after each other and we try to get through this bringing everybody along. But oh no, the budget doesn't do that. It doesn't say these are tough times, we're short of money, we gave away too much with those upper income tax cuts. 23 billion on tax revenue foregone was a bit excessive in light of the way the world has turned. Let's claw some of that back. Let's ask upper income earners to give back a little bit of the 6-cent tax cut they had from 39 cents of the dollar. It doesn't do that. Does it close down loopholes for the people who are writing income off on their business or their farm or creating a trust so that they're accountants? No, it doesn't do any of that anti-avoidance work. None of that. There's nothing about broadening the tax base in this budget. 2 to go, sir. None of that. What it does do, through the changes in this bill, it claws back KiwiSaver investments, $10 a week per KiwiSaver, and the employer tax credit, which will partly be offset against the employees' accumulated funds. And in that way, sir, New Zealanders are about $10 to $12 a week each worse off. Now, that's not as bad as what's happening on working for families. If you're a middle-income family with 2 children on, say, $80,000 a year between 2 parents, by 2015, you're going to be $50 a week worse off, according to our analysis. $50 a week worse off on KiwiSaver. And that's why we were saying to members opposite earlier on, Ruatoria is going to be Ruaporia by the time those changes feed through. And to Uraroa Flavel over there, he's going to have to explain to the good people of Waiariki why he is supporting a government that is cutting their putia, what is going on the table for their whānau. He's going to have to explain why he's backing a Conservative government to make life harder for ordinary working families in New Zealand. That is what this budget does. It takes the belt tightening on the belts of those that are already wearing them tight, whereas the belts of the fat cats get loosened even more. And that is wrong, sir. So there are 3 things wrong with this budget. It's built on flimsy foundations, too much smoke and mirrors. Even IRD doesn't believe the numbers. 2, there isn't the shadow of a plan for growth and jobs. And 3, because there's no equity, some belts go out, some comes in. We end up with a divided society and no better off at the end of the forecast period.
I call the honourable member Craig